Fades, here come get your fades. Here come one, come on, I'm handing out fades left and right. We got them for low bottom dollar. You came to the right place. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday, my degenerates. I was a little too degenerate this weekend myself. Got my ass absolutely whooped on and off the court. It was my father-in-law's birthday. We took a trip out to Laughlin. I spent probably about 8 hours standing next to my wife, and now I cannot stop singing Little Shop of Horrors because there was a brand new slot machine that apparently that's her favorite movie of all time ever, so she played it nonstop, and I was broke from gambling both at the craps table and on the UFC. So all I had to do is stand there with my dick in my hand listening to Little Shop of Horrors for several hours. It was brutal, you guys. I'm exhausted. I had to drag my ass all the way back to Arizona, and the walk of shame that I am feeling from being down 4 weeks in a row with bad reads and bad luck combined. Then I've got to drag my ass back here, sit on the couch and study to bring you the best show I possibly can. Your boy's hanging on by a thread. That's the kind of day we're having. But as you all know, I'm here. We're never giving up. The show must go on. How's everybody doing? We got my guy Dream in the chat. Mikey Jones, what's going on? Mushroom in the house. Bufo on the beat. Hype as always. The Grateful Dude. How is everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Just an absolute brutal showing from me, guys, last week. I got to tell you, I was one of the few people that decided to go ahead and buy low on on our guy Petrosian. And I felt so good. You know, I started the night off with going, damn it. I wanted to take an under in the Evan Elder fight, but I didn't really get time to look into it because I was, driving to Laughlin, like I mentioned. So didn't end up having any action on that. Would have been an easy cash or whatever. It's okay. It's okay. And then we hit Petrowski. Link, Memorial, Dog of the Week. We're back on track. We finally got one. And I'm like, I'm feeling good. It's going to be a good night, man. It's going to be a good night off a cliff. Didn't win a damn thing after that point. It was one and done. Very disappointing. I mean, I could go over the entire card for you guys, but I knew it was a wrap when Damon Blackshear got KO'd in 15 seconds. Like that's, I had two people that I bet on. Now, granted, Myro was a plus 315 underdog. That's not one you're expecting to hit all the time, but I had two people that lost sub 20 seconds in their fights, right? Like there's no coming back from that. You're not doing good. And it was a terrible night for the Short Kings. Poor C-Rod, poor Josh Van. And then I got clowned and called out by Charles Johnson, a guy who I have loved and supported online today. That's enough of a recap. That's plenty because we're back on track. We're locking in, folks. We're locking the fuck in this weekend. It's happening, and I've got a little help to do it. I'm bringing in the big guns, as always. I've always got the big guns primed and ready to go. But one of my personal favorites, a little bit of local flavor, the man who ruined DraftKings for all gamblers to come after him, none other than Fight Ready's Brandon Olivas joining us. What's going on, my guy? How you doing?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. Need a big week, a little rabid, but ready to go. How are you?
Good, man. I'm back to reality, back to my house. Do I sound okay? Is everything okay on my end?
Sounds good. Looks good.
Okay.
Glad you're not in the backyard again.
Yeah. Oh, no, not today. Last time I did that, I was freezing cold, and that was not good. And this time it would
be melting today.
Yeah, the opposite. But I just got back from a week in Colorado, so it's good to settle in, be able to watch film again, back to the routine.
Love it. There's nothing like getting back to the routine. How's the air there? Like we break down the elevation bullshit, but I've never been there. I've never tried to fight there. What's it like? How bad is it to be out there trying to throw hands?
So I'll say this a couple times. And this is something I guess everyone should take this from the future. So my family lives in Colorado. I used to go to Colorado every single summer. I go a decent amount of times. And one thing that really messed me up was I went about 2 years ago and I trained with my uncle. That was the first place that I started MMA, was in Colorado. And I was a kid. So, as a kid, you have unlimited cardio. It never makes a difference. And I was a little kid. I was like 14, 15 at the time. So I saw my uncle, who I had actually started with, and he got his brown belt. And then, they had opened up a new academy. I was a brown belt at the time. So I was like, all right, now's my time. Like, I got to show him I'm a grown man. I'm about it now. Like, I'm not a kid anymore.
Yep.
And so I went as hard as I could with him and the academy's black belt. After those 2 rounds, white belts were tapping me out. It wasn't even a thing. Like, I was so exhausted. I've never been so tired in my life. So that had screwed me up for some time. I was like, man, this altitude is no joke. I landed because I came a little bit after Tracy had got there. Mm-hmm. And I've been running. And, I've been running in Arizona. I can only run outside. If I run inside, I feel like a gerbil. And outside running in Arizona is tough, man. It's so hot. My heart starts pounding. And like, I'm lucky to hit 3 miles. I try for 5 all the time, but like 3 in the heat is like about what I can get. In Colorado, never bothered me a single time. I was running and easy. The air was clean. Tracy did 1,000,000 rounds, never got tired. I really never got tired either until like the last day and barely. And then I recovered really easily. So I think at least in Colorado, it's overblown just a tad bit. Not that it's, ideal and it's insane, but you did see a lot of, altitude affect people. Like, look at C-Rod. He looked pretty dog tired in that fight within 5 minutes. And have you ever seen that from him before? That dude runs 13 miles. I think it's more of a muscular thing than it is so much a cardio dynamic, right? Your muscles are requiring that oxygen that, not so much your lungs. So it wasn't too bad, at least for us. Tracy never got tired. She did rounds with me, Raquel Pennington, Tisha Torres, back to back, and looked great.
She was coming on late in that fight, man. Rose was the one that looked tired, at the end of round 4 and round 5. It was like, oh shit, like Tracy's got another gear.
Yeah, I thought rounds 4 and 5 were her best rounds, and I wish she had fought the entire fight like that. And that's kind of something that we told her early on, is like, you have to crash the pocket. If you stay at range with Rose, she's gonna pick you apart. She's got a great jab. She makes good reads. You need to crash that pocket, and you got to swing over the top, and you got to car crash her. And she waited until round 5 to like really start doing that. And she had success when she did. But, little improvements, and I'm proud of her. And we just move up from here. That's it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what comes next for her, because she kind of proved she belonged in there. I had the late round sprinkles on Rose. I kind of thought, especially after round 3, when Rose kind of switched it up and took it to the ground, I was like, oh shit, here we go. I'm going to cash one of these late round props and kind of save my day with a big plus number. And then Rose just kind of fell off a cliff, and Tracy figured it out and turned. It was real frustrating night for me. Real frustrating. Everything I did was like, this close. I thought Josh Van was up 2 rounds to none personally, scoring it. The judges were all over the place. It was 2-0, 1-1, and 0-2. So, who the hell knows? All came down to round 3, and Charles Johnson just touched him right on the temple and just hit him in the perfect spot to go ahead and end that fight for me. And C-Rod, man, that, I'm glad you mentioned him, because he never gets tired. That's one of the reasons why I was so confident betting him, even, under the circumstances, because I was like, his gas tank and submission defense, we're not going to have an issue. And I don't know, it looked like he almost got like a little emotional or over aggressive, because getting caught from guard like that in a guillotine, just never on my radar. Never saw that coming.
There had to be something different. And, first of all, we got beef about C-Rod, because C-Rod is crying. He's not my friend anymore. You send him a hat. He's sending shots my way. He's wearing your hat. He's not repping the podcast that gave him money when he was not in the UFC, when he had nothing. I was the one who helped him. Now he's repping your podcast. It is what it is. But one thing he's always told me is he gets really tired in his fights. He's like, dude, don't make a mistake about it. I'm fucking exhausted. He is, but he's one of those guys that is just so calm, and he's willing to drag everybody else in deeper water. And then you watch that fight, and I mean, what fight could have told you more? That kid's not a 45er than that fight. Like, he was so much smaller. He looked a weight class apart.
Huge size difference.
He's got a massive he's got massive potential. The kid is so talented, but he has to be at 135. He's literally my height and not much bigger than me. He should be at 35, not 45.
I still thought he was doing fine though. You know what I mean? Like, especially when Arosa went to his back, I was like, here we go. Here we go. Like, C-Rod defended the back take. We won the scramble. He got on top. Like, we're going to cruise from here. And it's like, damn, man, like just a mental error or something. I don't know if
I wonder what it was, man. He tapped so quickly. I can't imagine the guillotine was that insane. I don't know if he was just struggling for oxygen. What happened? But that was such a fast tap. It reminds me of like Matt Schnell, like something like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, man, something different. But that's the fucking sport that we decide to put our money on week in and week out, right? Crazy shit happens in this game. And then Ponzinibbio, the boys in the chat were talking about it. Minus 8,500 favorite on the live line and then loses a split decision. Like,
no kidding.
This game is crazy, man.
Wow.
This game is crazy.
I didn't get to watch a lot of the fights. I'm actually excited to go back, watch the Silva Dober fight, watch the Ponzinibbio fight. There's a few that I want to see, so I need to go back and check those out.
Yeah, man. The Johnson Van fight was good. It was good all the way through.
I did see that one. That was crazy. First of all, Van is fucking good, man. He's so the good. Truth. And Charles Johnson's good. And he's come a long way since his LFA days. Like, he used to get chinned all the time, make a lot of mistakes. He's grown into himself. I guess similar to Jasmine Jasovicius. Like, her pre-UFC tape was okay. Come on as a brand new fighter in the UFC.
Yeah, I messed up there too, man. I flip-flopped. I started the week saying, big test, big step up, short notice, wrong weight class. I'm going to buy low here on Jazz. And then I ended up kind of talking myself into the Fatima Klein side of things because I've always been a Jazz hater. So it didn't take a whole lot to sway me the other way. And I bought on the talent. So I just fucked up last week, like left and right, man. I made mistakes.
It's okay. That's a good one too. Remember this, like, not everyone's going to win their first fight in the UFC. And when you're jumping up a weight class, look at your buddy C-Rod. He lost to JSP, up a weight class he shouldn't be at, right? And then he went on to win a ton of fights against really good people at a lower weight class. Look at Tabitha. I know Tabitha, everyone's like, fucking Tabitha, but she is good. And she took a short notice against Manon and then got her ass beat and then moved back down a weight class. And Fatima really is that good. I said this on my pod. She really is that good. She's at the wrong weight class against a big, nasty girl who just doesn't give a fuck. And that's Jasmine.
Absolutely.
That was my biggest catch of the week, luckily. And I'm a firm Fatima believer. Beautiful.
And yet that's, man, when they sized up, I thought she'd be physical enough to hang. And then I liked her skill set better. Yeah. Yep. It is what it is. We'll get back on track this week. We got some shit to get through, everybody. We got a whole fight card for you. That'll do it for the intro. This is Brandon Olivas. If you don't know him, make sure you check him out. One of the best follows to have on Twitter. And he does a show with Fight Ready's head coach every single week. Massively important, good knowledge, good information, and just really fucking fun to listen to. You guys, I love your chemistry. I love the way you bounce off of each other. So
I appreciate that. I always get a text from you every week. Tell him something about the show. And I always appreciate that. That's cool.
I tell you, man, there's like a small handful ever since I started doing content seriously. It's a full fucking time job now. I do 3 shows a week, do all the research and stuff. I don't watch everybody else's content. I can't, you just don't have the time to do it anymore. Full-time dad, full-time job besides this. But yours is one that I always make time for. I just love listening to it. So
we appreciate that, man.
I'm not trying to blow smoke. Sincerely. So I'm just being honest. All right, everybody.
It's fun because you've had just with our channel, it's a dynamic of like Santino and I over so many years of doing it for free. I was telling this story. I started dating this girl and I'm telling her a story because she actually trains jiu-jitsu with me and Santino. And I'm like, he used to be into filmmaking. He loved filmmaking. So he would bring his camera in, set it up on a tripod and film the whole day's practice. And I was like, man, I was 19 at the time. How could I not moon the camera middle of the time lapse? And then, 8 p.m. at night, I get a phone call from Santino. I will fucking kill you. Show up to the gym tomorrow. I'm going to fucking murder you. What the fuck is wrong with you? And then I wait 10 minutes and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And I get a call from his wife. Like, I'm sorry for him. He'll be good tomorrow. Don't worry about it. It's funny. And that dynamic's built into the show over years and years and years and years. And as we grow and elevate. So it's a fun dynamic, but I love that you tune in and I love, the impact that show has on a lot of people. It's fun.
Dude, it's hilarious because I don't even remember honestly how I discovered you, man. But a lot of people don't know this. I love Santino. Like, I grew up watching Tough. You know what I mean? I got into UFC watching The Ultimate Fighter. So Santino was one of the guys that I first saw, because those first couple of seasons, you know, I fell in love with guys like Forrest Griffin, and I've always been like a Ryan Bader fan from Tough. So like I knew Santino from The Ultimate Fighter, and then that, you know, we kind of bumped into each other on Twitter, and then I saw that you guys were connected on the show, and like, so it's funny because I actually have been a long-time Santino fan, not just because of the podcast. He's always been a guy I've enjoyed watching fight and stuff like that. So
he's
anyway,
all right. I like you better. All right.
He's all right.
Guide my sleigh.
Yep, there you go. There you go. All right, man. Let's get into this damn thing. Everybody, do me a favor and hit the like button. We've already got over 450 viewers watching us, checking it out. This is going to be UFC Vegas 94. Let's get into this bad boy. First fight of the evening, we've got Mohammed Usman taking on Thomas Peterson. Sloppy heavyweights. Thank God they didn't put this at elevation. It's much better for them to keep this one here down in Vegas, because man, heavyweights at elevation, they learned their lesson. We did not need to see that. I've had a long and terrible relationship with Mohammed Usman, man. I'll be honest with you. He's one of these guys that I just straight up did not believe in. I was like, he's only in the UFC because of his brother. And even though he won on The Ultimate Fighter, like, he's just not good. He's gassy. Yeah, he hits hard, but he's got nothing else. And they just keep softballing the guy. Like, he knows where the bodies are. Like, the matchmaking for Mohammed Usman has been so pure. It just feels like they're going to keep on getting him winnable fights. And I don't know if it's the relationship with his brother or what, because he just keeps on doing the damn thing. 10-3, 35 years old. I will admit the cardio has gotten better. You know, he looked decent, I guess, against, you know, Jake Collier, but he's got that power, man. And he lost to McParkin. I was successfully able to fade him there. I'm kind of a sleeper McParkin type of guy. But Thomas Peterson, 8-2, 29 years old, a little bit younger, coming off Dana White's Contender Series. In my opinion, you can't get much of a worse look than losing to Jamal Pogues. I don't like Jamal Pogues, man. I'm not a believer. He's a guy I don't feel like he should necessarily be fighting a heavyweight. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of a rough look. And the way he was just kind of walking into punches, like just absorb damage with your face to get into range and grab the takedown and drag you down to the mat. I don't know if that's going to work on Usman. I worry about the cardio dynamics. Thomas Peterson definitely should have the better cardio, at least based on what we've seen. But Usman, stronger, bigger, hits harder, wrestles well enough. I'm not sure you want to eat that guy's punches to get to the clinch. You know what I mean? So I kind of have a slight lean to Usman here. Not one I'm super interested in betting. This thing is getting ever closer to a pick'em line. It looks like money's kind of come in on Peterson. Usman's about a -135 favorite right now. Favored or pass to me, but not one I'm sold on, man. What do you make of this fight?
I think I actually like Peterson here.
Okay.
I think what you said earlier, like, I don't know anything that Usman's really good at. He's awkward. He's clunky. You know, he can be taken down. Someone in the chat said the sales fight, and that's very relevant here, right? Because I do like Mick Parkin. Mick Parkin's better than anyone that Thomas has ever fought. But I'm on the other side of that. I love Jamal Pogues. I think Pogues, if he could get rid of his belly but still fight heavyweight, he is so freaking athletic, and he's actually really talented with his skills. He could beat a lot of guys, but he's just so fat and lazy that he has issues. But Thomas Peterson not getting finished in that fight, to me, showed me a lot of heart. Jamal Pogues' jab keeps everybody away. It's such a good weapon for him, and it's something that you don't really see in MMA a lot. I feel that Thomas could get on top of him. He is a really good wrestler. He chains things together really well. He's got good submissions. I like Thomas Peterson, and he's tough, and he doesn't quit. Usman can quit. Usman can break a tad bit. Usman can slow down. Usman can lose his rhythm. I get it. He's big, athletic. He honestly, I think more so than anything, he looks scary. And I think a lot of people kind of factor that into their decisions on do I bet on him, whatever, because he looks intimidating. I think I like Peterson here, and this card is annoying because I like almost like all the dogs on this card, but I'm gonna go with Peterson. I think he gets on top. It's tough.
That's true. That's true, and I get it with the dog love on this card. I've been looking at this card closely, and I don't think we've seen this many coin flip fights in 2 years. Like, how long has it been since we've had this many like closely lined fights? So short dogs on this card, you can make an argument for a lot of them. So
it's boom or bust this card. For sure.
Yeah, no kidding. We're going to be flipping coins left and right this week, folks. So buckle up. Trust Brandon more than me on this one. I've never got Usman right.
Also, Peterson is in Arizona now. My biggest issue with Peterson, I've bet, and I think I've got correct every Peterson fight he's ever had.
Okay.
He was training in wherever the hell, like Minnesota, whatever it was, whatever he's from, with like 3 guys that were like shitty. I think he did train with Aspelund, whatever, who's a good prospect, good heavyweight guy. But I seen a picture of him the other day with Waldo Cortez Acosta here in Arizona. So at least he's getting some kind of real coaching, some kind of real looks. Something's changing, something's different for him, which I think will be very good.
Okay. I like that. That is good news. Anytime these guys that are new to the UFC take that step up, find a real gym, find UFC caliber training partners, that makes a difference, man. It really does. And he is the younger guy. So if any one of them is going to, adjust or improve, he probably would be the one to do it. And like I said, man, I just don't get Usman right. I rarely pick an Usman fight correctly. The last one, I've faded him almost every single fight in the UFC. And so I finally got one with Mick Parkin. I'm going to take my win and retire. All right. Next fight up, guys. We've got Luana Dread Carolina taking on Lucy Pudilova. And this one's tough for me, man, because I like both these girls. And I've actually bet on both Luana and Lucy Pudilova a couple of different times. I have to just lament poor Lucy. She's 14-9. She's 30 years old. She has a rough run in the UFC, gets cut, fights her way back, and looks like a new woman, and they robbed us blind against Jocelyn Edwards, man. That split decision, I felt like should have been one-way traffic for Lucy Pudilova, but here she is on a 2-fight losing streak instead, and she even had Aileen Perez, like, in a tough spot. She had her back. She had the rear naked choke sunk in. Like, so she looks like, a whole lot better in this most recent run in the UFC. Her grappling is definitely improved. She's got decent striking. She keeps a good pace, but she's just middle of the road at the end of the day. You know what I mean? The fact that she's going to split decisions with Jocelyn Edwards, the fact that she had a moment against Perez, but she can't quite get over that hump. Like, she's still kind of good old Lucy Pudilova. Dread Carolina, on the other hand, I feel like a lot of people took her as a bit of a throwaway. A lot of people were not happy with her. And when she lost to Molly McCann, that was the one that really kind of had people doubting her. And I thought she was winning that fight up until the point that she got hit by that gigantic spinning back fist. And I know JoJo Wood isn't what she used to be, but fighting to a high-paced kickboxing split decision with her, I'm like, that's not really like a red flag to me. For a fighter that's kind of coming along, that seems like an okay performance. She's 2-0 in her last couple of fights, and I loved the Julia Stoliarenko fight. She has good, solid submission grappling defense, and that's been also improving for her. She's been working hard on her ground game. She keeps a high pace, good pressure. She's mean. She likes to hurt people. And you can tell, man, when Luana Carolina has you hurt, or when she kind of feels you fading, she turns up. She's got that nasty streak in her where she's going to start going after you. She does not let you off the hook. She's got a hard 15 minutes of gas. This is a women's MMA coin flip, guys. And I think I like Dread. It's interesting to me, though, because this line is also closing down. Lucy Pudilova was a little bit of an underdog not too long ago. It's -115, Luana Carolina, -105, Lucy Pudilova. So money's come in on Pudilova here at this point. I still lean towards Dread. It's a coin flip. Be careful. Probably a split decision type of fight. But I just feel like, I don't know. I do feel like Luana Dread Carolina has just that little bit more. So I would slightly favor her. Well, I'm sure you're going to be on Lucy. What are you going to tell me on this fight?
How do you know that? How'd you know that?
Because the line moved on DraftKings. She was plus, 125.
I can't bet on DraftKings, so that wasn't me.
I'm just messing with you.
No, I think I really like Lucy here. And I have famously on the podcast compared Luana Carolina to Anderson Silva. She's Anderson Silva, the female version at, 125. I love her. But, I look at her, I look at her record. Okay. She fought Yulia Stoliarenko, and Santino loves Yulia Stoliarenko. I don't know what his obsession is with her. He just loves her so much. Can't wrestle. Bad cardio, can't wrestle, accepts bottom position a lot. Ivana Petrovic is horrible. I don't know. She is awful. Joanne Wood, solid skills. Molly McCann, got knocked out. I think the difference with Lucy Pudilova, and thing I really like, is she can wrestle. Like, she's actually a pretty good wrestler. Jocelyn Edwards has gotten a lot better over the years too, and Pudilova was taking her down no issue. She is really big and long, and she uses her length to wrap up those takedowns. And on the feet, she's not lost either. That's the other thing is a lot of these girls are lost on the feet. Petrovic is so damn slow, can only wrestle. Stoliarenko has no clue what she's doing on the feet. Pudilova's got good straight punches. Like, even if she can't get the wrestling going, which honestly I think she will be able to get it going. she's going to be able to push her, pressure her, fire straight punches enough to make it a really, really close, competitive striking fight, right? She's not completely outmatched. I just think Lucy Pudilova has way more ways to win than Luana Carolina. And I love Carolina. Like she's grown on me a whole bunch. But Pudilova is going to be the tallest, longest, best jiu-jitsu, best top game girl that she's ever fought before. And, I don't obviously expect Luana to be shooting takedowns, so it's not going to be the Eileen fight again. Sorry, I'm just looking at Pudilova's record one more time. Yeah, Eileen Perez and Jocelyn Edwards are a lot better than Petrovic and Stoliarenko, in my opinion. I think she's solid all the way around. Just more ways to win. I think she's pretty clean. I like Lucy Pudilova here.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, the one thing that kind of jumped off the page at me, I'm not a fan of Jocelyn Edwards. I recognize that where she's made improvements and gotten better, and in fact, she's cost me money a couple of different times. I bet Jeong Kim and Lucy Pudilova against her, and she got her hand raised in both split decisions. I just can't with her right now. But she's got like a 60% takedown defense. And I know in women's MMA, it doesn't necessarily make the biggest difference, but Luana Carolina's got like a 76% takedown defense. And when you're talking about Lucy Pudilova, who, while she's worked on the wrestling, she's worked on the grappling, she really only has a 27% accuracy, and she hit 2 on Jocelyn Edwards. You know what I mean? I'm like, I still kind of think Dredd can probably defend the takedowns. And if she does, I kind of favor her ever so slightly on the feet. It's not a confident take, but
I just want to address a couple of these comments. Someone's like, who's your mushroom dealer? You're comparing Anderson Silva to Luana Carolina. It's a joke, buddy. Like, are you slow? Come on.
Yeah, but no, people gotta lighten up on that kind of shit. Anytime I make a comparison to anybody, you hear about it. Like, that's all the comments about. Did you really just compare? Like, I think, what did I do? I compared Cedric Dumas to Jamal Hill when Hill had the belt and people didn't hate him, and people were like, bro, what the fuck? And I was like, I was talking about like his height and his reach and like the physicality. You know what I mean?
I might have got a little racist there. I don't know.
Man, let's not do that. I'm the baldest, whitest guy on YouTube. I won't be beating the racist accusations if they come for me. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Next up, we've got Loik Radzhabov taking on Trey Ogden, the samurai ghost himself. And I've been a low-key sleeper on Trey Ogden, Brandon. This guy's been good to me. I think people don't realize how good he is when it comes to like his game plans and the IQ. And that's really what I think he relies on. Like, he's 34 years old, so he's a little bit older. He's not the most athletic guy. He doesn't hit the hardest. So he's one of these good old fashioned hard work and elbow grease type of fighters. You know what I mean? He's got to outsmart you. He's got to outwork you, outmove you, be ready, know what you're going to do, and then have a game plan for it. And I kind of like that. You know, that makes me enjoy it, that he's not just the ultimate athlete knocking everybody out left and right. He got there the hard way, you know? And I still will never forgive them for not cashing my ticket on Nicholas Mota, because he was dead to rights in that fight. Didn't matter. It was stopped early. I can't believe they called it a no contest because the ref stepped in a split second too quickly. So I'm frustrated. He's a slight dog here in this spot, but I love his footwork. I love his jab. I love the timing on his level changes. Like, he doesn't shoot super often, but he's a really good grappler. And the timing on his level changes is he really hits him when he goes for him, because, man, he just has his moments. You know what I mean? He knows really when to decide to take that shot. Loik Radzhabov is I don't want to say the opposite, because obviously he's skilled. You know what I mean? But he's almost the opposite, where he's just a muscle tank. Like, this guy's huge. He is shredded. He wings these giant power hooks. He'll drag you around the cage with the body lock and just he's a bully. He will physically just maul you. And he's had a couple of tough spots. You know what I mean? He dropped his, not his first UFC fight, but his second UFC fight to Mateusz Rumbecki. Not necessarily a bad look. So he's 2-1 so far in the organization, coming from Eagle FC. And his last fight, man, we might have gotten a little lucky. I had a bet on him against Al Swati, and he got that big hook, the round 3 TKO. That was a good fight. But that's what this fight kind of comes down to me. It's physicality versus game planning. It's brains versus brawn. You know what I mean? So I kind of lean towards Trey Ogden to be able to outsmart Loik Radzhabov, but it does feel like Loik is figuring things out at the UFC level, and he just hits like a truck. In Trey Ogden's last fight against Kurt Holobaugh, I noticed that like the left side of his head was all lumped up from not quite being able to get out of the range of those right hand hooks. And if he still has that issue against Loik, that could be a problem. So I think there's a little bit of an opportunity with Trey Ogden, but again, too cowardly to pull the trigger just yet. So slightly into Trey. What do you think on this fight, man?
I played Ogden really early. And I just, this is one I actually worry about. Last one, I actually feel pretty decent on Pudilova. I like Pudilova a lot. This one's a little different for me. Ogden has everything I typically desire in a fighter, right? And I've gone against him. I've lost a bunch of money on Ogden for and against him, both sides. Like, just, I couldn't get it right. And then his last fight, I got it right. I liked it. Ogden is such a good game planner. I love him as a coach more than I love him as a fighter. He's such a great game planner. And you have to understand that he's going to know exactly how to do this. Now, the thing that I do worry about is he's a lot slower than Loik. He's a lot less dynamic, right? His game is going to be breaking you down over time, jabbing, moving, wrestling, wearing on you, hanging on you. Good top game, good jiu-jitsu. I like his game. So over the course of a 15-minute fight, I like Ogden. But I think the way to probably approach a bet like this is like Ogden scorecards only or something like that, because at any time he can get nuked. But I don't really see him necessarily finishing Loik. I guess maybe if it's later in the fight, but even still, like Esteban Ribovic didn't finish him, and that dude's a mauler in the third round. So
yep.
I like Ogden here very, very slightly. I'm thinking about getting out of the play. I played him pretty early. I got 150 plus 150, so
nice.
Not too bad. But yeah, I'll lean Ogden, not confident.
Hey, I'm seeing a minus next to his name now, man. So you beat the line move. I was interested at first glance, and you guys know me. I got to do my research. I got to dig in. I'm not going to just fire blindly when I kind of think. So I missed the plus money. Now that he's down to pick him, now he's down to a slight favorite. I don't know if I want to lay minus 115 on Trey Ogden.
That's not as fun. Spot. Yeah, for sure.
It's probably a pass for me now, man. So if you guys got in there at plus 150, plus 125, that kind of stuff, I can't do it at this point. So I lean Ogden. It's going to end up being a pass.
I had a massive position on El Sawadi last fight, and that one hurt my heart very badly.
Yeah, that was tough, man. That was tough. I know a lot of people were on El Sawadi on that one. Like I said, I feel like I might have got a little lucky on Loik in that spot last time around.
Just a little.
A little bit. So we've got Diggs Insider asking if you can see the chat today. I'm pretty sure he can. He can see the chat. We already addressed it once already. So
this dude, Pickled Picari, is like, show your sheet. I lost 30K in the last couple weeks. I made 10K back last week, but I'm up like 150 grand this year. So I don't know.
Damn.
It's not that big of a deal. It's okay. We'll be all right.
Glad you're having a good year. I'm getting my ass kicked, man. Brandon, I don't know if you've listened, but I have this thing. It's alternating years. If I have a good year, the next year I'm just dead meat. Like, I have no chance. Ever since I started the show, we're on year 6. I've alternated wins and losses annually since I started the podcast. I had the best year of my life last year. Can't find my groove.
Let me give you the secret. Let me give you the secret, right? When you win a lot of money.
Big old thumbnail about the secret to winning sports gambling.
Yeah.
Now that you're telling me.
No, not winning sports gambling. It's to being happy. When you win a lot of money, fuck it. I'm the man. I'm so good at gambling. I'm handsome. I'm rich. Awesome. And when you lose, you just go, man, life's about a lot more than money. And you go on long walks. You go work out. You just be like, life's about much more than this. I'm more diverse than gambling. That's how you tell it.
I love it. I like it. Find that glass half full both ways. We got Rope Lord in the chat, and he's saying, how do you still have money to keep betting, Clint? I will tell you, Rope Lord, it's called bankroll management, and it's extremely important. And I've told everybody since I started this damn podcast, you've got to be very careful with your bankroll. That's why we use units. That's why you're never risking more than like 10, 15 units on a single card. You got to leave yourself that back door, man. You can't be all in every single week, because you will go broke if you do it that way. So I always try to tell people,
don't listen to them. Go all in every fucking week. That's how you make it. That's how you could do it.
Compound interest, right? You go all in on the first fight of the night, and then you just roll it throughout the rest of the card.
There you go.
Sweep. Just pick winners. All right, man. Next up, we got Miranda Maverick, and she's taking on Dione Barbosa. Some more women's MMA action here. Miranda Maverick. Now, Maverick and Jazz are 2 women cut from the same cloth for me, man. I don't think they're very good. They're big. They are meaty. They are thick. They are powerful. They're good wrestlers. decent strikers, real meat and potatoes, but it's that physicality. Like there's just women that cannot hang with them and how hard they can push and how strong they are. And that's how they win fights. And it's kind of a simple, watered down way to think of them. But those two women, that's just kind of the bucket that I've always tossed them in. And it's like, I bet Jazz and cashed a nice ticket when she fought Miranda Maverick because I went, they're about the same. One's just bigger, one's just stronger, and she'll get the better of it. So I feel like I've got a decent read on these two. Obviously fucked up last week, but that's kind of how I like to think of Miranda Maverick. Now, her opponent here in this spot, bit of a different story. Dione Barbosa, she is tough, man. She is physical. She's strong. She's one of these wild Brazilian prospects that we like to get every once in a while. And you got to be careful with them because they'll take 6 months off and suddenly bite you in the ass because they're a complete monster compared to what you saw the last time out. We've seen that many times in UFC. But the thing for me is she's a BJJ black belt. And I can tell you, I see time and time again, she takes bottom. She takes bottom position. I don't think that's going to work.
Sounds
on
like
Miranda,
a good
man,
woman.
Man. Yeah. Well, aren't you swearing off Brazilians? Isn't that a thing?
Oh yeah. I'm off Brazilians.
That's what I'm saying. So, good woman. Well, question mark, asterisk. Man, I just don't think that's a wise choice. If they're going to get in there and bang, it's probably going to be a relatively even on the feet, maybe slight advantage to Barbosa. I like her kicks. I like her big body kick. But once they clinch up, once they start to look for grappling, I don't see Barbosa taking Miranda Maverick down. I think Miranda's going to get on top, and I think Barbosa is going to be looking for shit from her guard, and Miranda's going to win minutes. I mean, it might be close. 29-28, but I think Miranda gets on top and she probably wins. I'm sick of minus 250 Miranda Maverick, but it's also kind of hard to argue against, in my opinion.
I'm kind of going backwards. And actually, this is something, I don't know if I should say this, but Santino's been really critical of elevation. He says that every girl that goes to elevation fight team or goes to the Colorado circuit, they end up coming out worse. They go in decent and have decent skill set, and they end up coming out worse. Remember when Miranda Maverick, like Cormier couldn't stop talking about her boxing, and now she's like a shell of herself. Like she just is weird and does weird stuff. I think I like Barbosa, the big plus money, but I think what's important here is you're gonna have to look for the first sprawl. If Maverick can't get that first sprawl, I think she's outmatched on the feet. Barbosa is so much more athletic and so much more dynamic. But the thing that I think you're overlooking just a tad bit here is that a lot of times Barbosa doesn't shoot traditional takedowns. She's not shooting just regular double legs. She's hitting a lot of foot trips, a lot of foot sweeps. And these things are really different, right? You don't expect these. Like a lot of times you're going to get taken down from the least expected things, right? Someone catches a kick or a small trip on the backside. It's little things. And I really like that stuff. I think both girls are liable to play jiu-jitsu off their back, right? We saw Maverick with Jazz the Vicious was there for a lot of the fight. I would say Barbosa is probably just as physical as Jasmine, just as strong as Jasmine. Probably, I don't know if better striking because it looks better, but it's probably not as good as or effective as Jasmine. I don't know. I think if you are personally believing that this fight's a 29-28 decision, I mean, I don't know how you don't play a plus 170 or a plus 205. I just think there's a lot of value there in if you really believe the fight's going to be that close and it's going to be a lot of tight grappling transitions. Now, I do like Miranda. I do like Miranda. I like her game. I think that her competing in jiu-jitsu has been really good. She took second or first place at Brown Belt Nogi Worlds, which is good. It's notable. She's solid, man. She's coming into her own, but I think that physicality is going to be a lot. Like it's just dynamics. And I don't think that Miranda can make her work hard enough on the feet to do the same thing that Ernesta did to her, right? Where she just wore her out with volume and sprawling and just being in her face. Miranda likes to take her time. She got those short, stubby little arms. I think this is a very close fight. I think if I had to pick a winner, it's probably Miranda to eke it out just barely. But, that kind of big plus money behind a fight that I imagine is going to be super, super close is insane. I would just watch that first grappling sequence, see how that goes. If Barbosa sprawls, game on. Okay.
All right. I don't mind it. Man, it would be more of a Miranda Maverick by decision if I was going to play it because I just don't see her finishing this fight. Take minus 230 and get it down to plus money if I was going to do it. I love that kind of play. Business of laying minus 230.
Yeah, I love that kind of play on specifically jiu-jitsu people because what they'll do is I don't think Miranda can hurt her on the feet, and then Barbosa can just play guard for 15 minutes if he needs to. Yeah, that's great.
I had a whole conversation about that the other day where it's like, it's real hard to finish someone who doesn't want to be finished. Trey Ogden is a perfect example of that. The Ignacio Bahamondes fight. He went, I'm losing. I ain't getting knocked out. You know what I mean? It's real.
Yeah.
It's real tough to get somebody out of there if they're just playing 100% defense.
It takes two people to fight. We see that all the time. We see it in boxing. We see it in everything. It takes two people to fight, not one.
Yeah. Speaking of boxing, is Nate Diaz going to get the rest of his bag, man? Do you see that? They're like stiffing him on like $8 million of his contract or some shit.
It's because they cut me part of that check.
Oh man. Hey, we've got a question in the chat. Lane saying you're fading Brazilians. Why? I said, no, Lane. He swore off dating Brazilians. We're not fading Brazilians. He swore off dating Brazilians.
Does anybody else have any other stupid questions for me tonight? Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, man. Next fight. We're talking about my guy, Brian Boom Kelleher. He's taking on Cody Gibson. Oh, and this one's tough for me, Brandon. Boom's a friend of the show. Boom's come on the podcast. I love Brian, but he's a member of the Ball Gang. He's getting up there, though, man. And they did him no favors. I mean, 24-15, 37 years old. Dude's a little fire hydrant. He's a little warrior. He can wrestle. He's got a basic game. He's kind of your throwback classic wrestle boxer. Just, again, not big enough, not physical enough, not evolved enough. And after that surgery layoff, they gave him Cody fucking Garbrandt. I was like, damn, dude, like that's messed up. Like biggest fight of his life right off of the long layoff and the surgery gets absolutely smoked. He's been finished in round 1 in the last 3 of his fights. I feel bad for Boom. He's all in for this one. He kind of knows his back's up against the wall. It's really his last chance to kind of save his job. And they're giving him Cody Gibson, he's 36 years old, so he's age appropriate. You know, we want to talk about fights and dating. He's an age appropriate opponent here. 0-2 in his last couple fights. The loss to Brad Katona doesn't, feel like it's aged spectacularly well, but no shame losing to Miles John in his last couple of fights. But he actually looked pretty good against Miles Johns. He got taken down twice. He got up. He's big. He's physical. He likes his front kicks. And I think that's going to be a problem against Brian Kelleher because I don't know that Brian at this stage of his life is as strong and as physical as a guy like Miles Johns is. He's definitely not as athletic. I don't think he hits as hard. And I think those front kicks and the knees up the middle are going to really cause a problem. And if a guy like Miles Johns couldn't keep a guy like Cody Gibson down, I really just think Brian's going to struggle to do the same thing, especially because that's the game plan that's coming for you. I feel like Cody Gibson's probably got just a little bit more gas in the tank at this stage. I swear to you, man, I wanted to make an argument for Brian Kelleher. I wanted to come on the show and pound my chest and say one more ride with my guy, but I think it's favored or pass in this spot. And you just can't ignore the Achilles heel submission defense of Brian Kelleher. And Cody's actually got a decent offensive submission game. They both kind of have the same problem. I got to say, 10 wins by sub for Boom, 8 losses by sub. You got 4-4 for Cody Gibson. So, not quite as drastic on that side, but both of them can be caught in these grappling transitions. I would be kind of looking at maybe a sneaky spot of Cody Gibson by sub. It's not that sneaky. Secret's probably kind of out at this point, but that's the way that I'd be looking at this one. Is there any hope for Boom? Man, talk to me on this one.
I don't really think so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make a case for him against Cody Garbrandt. And I thought if there was one spot that he could have won, it would probably be that one, right? Cody is, when he does shoot, he puts his head in the well. He can be cracked. He can be hurt, all that stuff.
I wanted to chin him so bad, Brandon. I wanted Brian Kelleher to come out and just get the perfect right hand and KO for the biggest win of his career.
And he was doing well until he didn't. This one, I like Cody Gibson. Man. I like Cody Gibson's game just in general, right? He's a cardio volume freak. He's tough everywhere. He does everything well. I would love to. I actually looked at this fight. It's like, all right, is there a little angle here? I don't think so. I mean, I think it's Cody Gibson all day. I don't see a way that he necessarily loses unless he gets caught in a guillotine, right? Other than that, place of a fight, Kelleher has a lot of big overhands, a lot of looping shots where Cody's a lot more down the middle, volume, pressing you in your face. 3 losses in a row is tough to come back from. Last fight, older. Like I like Cody Gibson here.
Yeah, no, man, there's not much else to say. I mean,
also, did you see the loss to Katona didn't age well? Katona's so good, man. He's so good.
He's he is good. He's solid. He just kind of, I feel like I had higher expectations for him in his last fight. I really was expecting a finish. So I know he got the win over Jesse Butler, but like the fact that he just kind of grinded his way to a 15-minute.
I get it. I was there with you too. I lost a lot of money on that, but the dude's talented. He really is.
Yeah. No, he knows what he's doing. He belongs in the UFC. I'm definitely glad he made it back and all that stuff. But I was trying to think back to like the last time Boom really looked good in the octagon. And I went back to like the Kevin Kroom fight. And it's just like, fuck, man, like that guy is so dusted at this point. And he's fighting over in BKFC these days. And
All
it's
right,
like,
dude, have some respect.
I love BKFC. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, damn, like it's been a harsh road for Kelleher lately, and coming off the surgery at his age, I just unfortunately can't do it, man. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, Dixon Sider saying that Nate Maness got let go by the UFC. That's upsetting. I know that fight didn't go super well in his last one for a lot of people. Another one people expecting the finish. He was my anchor that weekend, man. That was the last good event that I had betting. But yeah, I'm sad Nate Maness didn't get re-signed with the UFC, but I think he'll do just fine on the PFL.
All right.
Let's go. Next up, we've got Hyder Amil, and he's taking on Jeong Lee. I made a joke on Twitter on this one that Hyder Amil is just Chad Dom Cruz, man. He's just got the same exact features with more of a jawline.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Yeah,
he looks good,
man.
Cannot argue it. This interesting fight, man, because Hyder Amil, he's such a weird prospect because he's 34 years old. Like, he's undefeated at 34. He got on Dana White's Contender Series a year ago. Now he wins and knocks out Fernie Garcia in his UFC debut. Like, it's weird because on paper you look at the guy and you're like, man, this guy could actually kind of be something. He's a little bit of, late sleeper, late to the party, but he got here. He's taking on the Korean Tiger, 11-1, and I've notably been on record fading the road to the UFC, guys. I'm just like, I don't think the level of competition's quite the same. I don't know. Like, there's a couple gems, but I think we can fade some of them profitably. Not this guy. Not this fucking guy. Like, this guy looks good, man. He comes in here, and the Yizha fight, split decision. A lot of people felt like it was close. Maybe he struggled with the grappling a little bit. UFC gives him Blake Builder, and he looked phenomenal against Blake Builder. Seems like he's doing the right things, getting the right work. He's been training, I think, a 4 or 5 month layoff since his last fight. So staying active, 28 years old. He's tall. He's long. He's got fast, accurate hands.
He's super sexy, too. This is going to be the hottest dude fight on the card.
That's fair. That is fair. Absolutely. Some Asian representation for your ladies. Get dudes, no judgment. Ladies or whoever you like, no judgment.
I'm dating an Asian now, so that's, I guess, my new flavor. So I'm all in.
There you go. I mean, you guys know I'm team redhead, right? But I can't complain. Can't complain about the Asians. No, man, it's a good spot. This is going to be an interesting fight. I don't want to doubt Hyder Amil. He's the kind of guy that I don't want to get in front of. You know what I mean? I feel like Jeong Lee is going to win this fight. I'm picking him, but at a 2-1 clip, I feel like that's kind of disrespectful of what we've seen from Amil so far, at least. I just don't feel comfortable with this fight, man. I'm going to pick the favorite and leave it alone.
I can't really have a much of an opinion on this one because he is now my teammate.
I forgot about that. I noticed on IG last night, actually. I was doing some last-minute research, and I was like, oh, shit. We've got Lee moving out to Fight Ready, which you guys know I love. You guys know I love. Anybody, if they're doing whatever they're doing, they're training elsewhere, and they move their camp to Fight Ready, boop, like bump up. I'm like, that already just means more to me.
I'll just say a few things on this. So one, he got to the gym, right? He doesn't speak any English at all. And so he was confused what we were doing. And I'm always the one that'll go and grab him and be like, all right, let's go with me. So his very first day at Fight Ready, his first experience was just drilling takedowns with me. So I was like, and I'm a 25er, right? He's a good size, man. He's big. He, from what I've been told, first of all, one of those fights, he had like a torn ACL or 2 torn ACLs and still fought and won. Yeah. Well, I can't remember if it was the Yazzie fight. And I love Yazzie. That dude is really good. That dude can cage wrestle like a motherfucker and has insane cardio for how he fights. That dude is really, really, really good. So even to be competitive with that guy, let alone win a split decision, I think is super impressive. Blake Builder, I don't put too much stock into it, but he looked good. He looked good doing it and was a little bit healed up. From what I've been told, he's never had training partners before or coaches before.
Damn.
He's kind of done all this like on his own. I think maybe he's at a coach or something like that because there are some guys that are out here with him, but he's never had any semblance of team practice or real rounds or real partners to train with. And so I'm sitting here watching in the gym him do rounds with Harel Cohen and Henry Corrales and this guy and that guy and every good top guy. The dude is very talented. He's very, very, very good. So I can't say too much about it. I really hope he wins. The kid is a nice kid. He wants to learn. He's super athletic. I hope he does the thing. Hyder is a crazy wild man. That's the only thing is, in any Hyder fight, someone can get rocked and go to sleep early. Hyder brings chaos and he's willing to do it. But if it gets outside of the first round, I think that Korean Tiger is cruising.
Okay. No, I like it, man. I like it. That's definitely a note that I want to make sure that people are aware of. I love Fight Ready. I love the way you guys prep and game plan and have these guys ready to go. But it's like little Asia over there, man. You got your Mongolian army going on over there, and now you're collecting Koreans.
It's a fun dynamic right now. We have the Jewish coalition from Israel. We got the Koreans, the Mongolians. It's a madhouse.
Have you guys considered hiring an interpreter service? Just get somebody in there full time to help.
We would have to have 9 guys on call. And, the one thing I will say, and this is just me preaching a little bit, I love the language of martial arts. I kind of talk about this a lot. Everywhere I travel in the world, there's one thing that unites all of us, and it's fighting. Sometimes, what's funny is actually the people that speak English are the ones who always fuck the drills up, misinterpreting it. Those other guys, they get it just fine. They understand what's going on. So there's something, there's something going on there.
That's funny, dude. That's hilarious. Yeah, man. And you know what? Actually, Din Diddy was mentioning that Hyder Amil's win Fernie Garcia 0-4 in the UFC. And you and I kind of had the same opinion, I think, about Fernie Garcia. That's horrible. One thing that made me kind of open my eyes a little bit about Hyder is because I didn't know that Fernie was necessarily UFC level, but he was tough as fucking nails. And the fact that he knocked him out is really kind of what made me go, oh, okay. You know what I mean? I wasn't expecting him to be able to finish in that fight. And that kind of spoke volumes to me about the offensive prowess of Hyder Amil.
I was big on actually, I was huge on Hyder KO in that spot. I loved Hyder finish. I think I made a ton of money on that one, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. But he's got some good wins. Chase Gibson is a great win. Emra, he's a grinder, annoying wrestler, close fight, whatever. Devontae Sewell was a good fight. Robson Jr. beat the shit out of that kid, and they love that kid. He's talented too. So he's got good wins. He's not like he's fighting scrubs. The dude is tough. He is.
For sure. All right. Well, we're cheering Jeong Lee. We'll see whether or not I decide to jump in and get a bet on him. Maybe I should stay off him just for Fight Ready's sake. Because Tracy coming off the L, you guys need to win. I can't mush you. I need to not mush the team this week.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Real quick, let's shout out the sponsors. As you know, this is Fight Ready, home of the Die Hard MMA podcast. And if you haven't, jump in our Telegram group. You're going to get all the breaking news, all the shit that comes down the pipe, the announcement of the Sphere, John Jones being in trouble again, interviews, everything you need to know. It's all going to be right here for you in the Instagram group immediately. Hit the link in the description if you want to get in there. And of course, the Discord, if you guys want to see my plays and chat with a bunch of other UFC fans, it's a great place to hang out and be. Next up, Fight Numbers. They have saved my career when it comes to betting DFS. I have always said I'm fishing a barrel. I am terrible at DFS, but it's fun. So I can't help but make a couple of lineups every single weekend. And these guys have helped me kind of turn that around and at least break even. John Kelly, you guys know him. He's been on the podcast before. Very smart guy. He's teamed up with some great guys in the Twitter sphere, in the capping space to make this. They've got this live odds, ever shifting platform. It's my favorite tool that they've got, but they've got picks, they've got tools, projections for DFS, stuff like that. So if you want a discount, if you want to use their service, again, discount link in the description below. Use that. Spectation Sports, we got a double header this week, guys. We've got WXC and Cage Titans coming up. Big fight in Cage Titans. Joe Giannetti, if you guys know that name, he's getting they think he's getting close to maybe getting a call back up to the UFC. Young kid doing lots of good things. He got the belt back over there. He's on a winning streak. So it's going to be a good event to tune into and check out. If you want to look at these guys and do your research for Dana White's Contender Series, stuff like that, a lot of them compete on these cards, and you'll get that on Spectation Sports. If you want a discount on that, again, promo code DIEHARD, use the link in the description below. That'll get you there and get you there cheaper. Finally, Bet Openly. I've told you guys about Bet Openly. We're running the gauntlet right now. I just busted out of my own damn contest. I'm really upset because I had a C-Rod and Rose parlay as my bet this week for my 6-week bankroll contest. So C-Rod cost me the, retaining my second place strap in my own contest this week. It hurts even worse because the first bet that I locked up was Armin Petrosian and decided to go with the other bet instead. So late flip-flop cost myself. Anyway, if you guys use Bet Openly, Use the link in the description. You're never going to get limited. It's peer-to-peer. You're betting with other people online. It's 1% juice, so you're going to be saving money your entire betting career using this platform. They're constantly adding new things. They've got the home run derby going tonight that they threw in there. Now they've got head-to-heads in like NASCAR and stuff like that. So it's an ever-growing, ever-changing platform that is built by bettors for bettors, and they've already saved over $7 million for the betting community. So hit that link. Check out Bet Openly. I think you guys are going to love the platform if you decide to go ahead and give it a shot. We're talking UFC Vegas 94, and I'm joined by my guy, Brandon Olivas, one of the sharpest guys in the game, and whole lot of information coming down to you. So again, make sure you support the guy. Check him out on social media and hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. What the hell are you doing? We got over 800 of you in here. We need to get those numbers up. Rookie numbers. Let's fucking go. All right. Next fight up, man.
800 people on this thing?
830.
Jesus Christ.
Let's
all right.
Go, man. That's you're bringing it. I'm off the loss. They're fading me, and they're coming for your info. Together, our powers united. Let's go.
No, don't put me on that. The UFC is a lot of pressure. It is hard to bet UFC in 2024. I think like regionals is for me personally where it's at. It's hard to bet UFC. Dude, between the crazy decisions and the bullshit and all the madness, it's insane.
Yep. How about Cody Brundage almost getting away with another first round TQ win?
You know what I think about Cody Brundage, and I'm annoyed that he's been in this space and stuff like that. Everyone gives him a platform, they root for him. Cool. It's because it's the only fighter that will hop on some of these shows. That dude should have just got knocked out. I swear to God, the amount of death threats that guy's going to get for doing that same thing again would be a lot less if he just took the knockout. If he just went back in there and said, fuck it, I know this is my fate, I'm going to go for it and whatever, and just got knocked out, it would have been a lot less than what he did.
I mean, are they just going to cut him at this point? Or do they sign him up against another killer? Because you know what I mean? Like, it seems like they're putting him in there against guys that are supposed to take him out, and he manages to squeeze by, but because he's still under contract, they give him another fight. Like, did they even bother trying to throw him to the wolves one more time, or is this it?
You know what? It's like in bare knuckle, we see this all the time. Like there's guys that are professionals that do this. They will get hit and drop to a knee at the same time, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, I was a grounded opponent," and they'll just try to like force DQs. They do it all the time. And Brundage is the only guy I've ever seen do this at the UFC level repeatedly. Always crying, always bitching, always like, "Well, oh my God, this is insane." I don't think it's good for the product to have it. Usually, I'd say, "Yeah, let's put him in against." I don't remember what weight class he is. Put him in against Pereira at 205, just for fun, just to give him what he deserves. But I think it's so bad look for the product as a whole.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a tough look. I mean, I understand. I'm the guy that goes to battle for the person who got eye poked or the person who got hit in the back of the head. I'm usually the one defending them. You know what I mean? It's tough to be put in that position and to fight when you're concussed or if you can't see out of your eye, that kind of thing. But this guy,
but they showed the replay and it was like a forearm on the back of the neck and then one to the side of the head. It didn't really hit him on the back of the head, and he's going, "Oh, it's horrible, horrible."
Well, I will say, I think the last one was a little bit more egregious because we all know that there was no power coming his way. You know, in the last one, he was just tired. And this one is like, I wouldn't want to get up after getting elbowed in the back of the head by Abdul Razak Al Hassan, but I think the damage was done before that anyway. That one I can't defend him on.
I went to go look at his comments, and of course he got him limited.
Oh,
at least C-Rod took it like a man.
I'd be deleting everything. I'd be like, I'm done. It's all coming down. I'll cash one more check and then you'll never see me ever again.
Yep.
All right, man. Let's get into this next one. We've got Choi coming back, taking on Bill Algeo, and it's funny because Billy Q and Bill Algeo are kind of the same person in my brain, man. Like they're both kind of that melt you with cardio type of fighter, and even though their skill sets are a little bit different, the body types are a little bit different. Like, again, they just kind of fight the same way in my brain. And I always felt like Bill Algeo was sneaky being the one who was just a little bit better. He was just a little bit more durable. Like, people used to shit on Bill Algeo, man. I used to make good money backing Bill before they figured out how good he was. And so when I looked at this one, I was like, okay, I kind of think I'm going to early lean to Bill. But then I looked back and I totally forgot, man, completely spaced that he got nuked by Kyle Nelson in his last fight. Now, controversial stoppage. You know, I had money on Bill that night, so I was a little upset about it, but it was one of those ones where he's kind of wobbling around. He's not defending himself, and Kyle went for it, man. The whole game plan was survive early against Kyle Nelson, then cook him with cardio, you know, deeper in the fight. But he had no defense. Like Bill Algeo was getting hit with every single shot and just wobbling again and again. I couldn't blame the ref for stepping in. It looked bad. You know what I mean? Like Bill probably survives that and comes back and makes a fight of it, but it didn't look good in the moment. And you got to wonder about the durability of those guys that just take those beatings over and over and over. Darren Elkins, like you just can't do that shit forever. It's a tough game to play guessing when somebody's chin is going to fall off. So I don't want to get too much into that, but we're kind of starting to see where, you know, maybe Bill can't take it quite so much the way he used to. Doo-Ho Choi, yeah, you know, everybody's favorite disappointing Superboy. You know, he came supposed to be a big deal in the UFC when he got here, and he looked good early on. He's on a 3-fight skid. Granted, he jumped into the deep end in that Club Swanson fight, and it felt like he just got a little too much too soon, never quite recovered from it. And, you know, tough sledding the last couple fights with Jeremy Stevens and Charles Jourdain knocking him out. He hasn't fought since... Well, okay, sorry. Before the Kyle Nelson fight, both these guys are coming off getting their asses kicked by Kyle Nelson. He hadn't fought in a long time. And then he looked really freaking good against Kyle Nelson. Now, with them having a common opponent, it makes it tricky in their last fight because MMA math don't work. But he looked really good. And it was the softest headbutt you've ever seen that led to that fight being a no contest, man. That was egregious. The fact that their heads kind of brushed each other and they called it a no contest after him.
It was a draw, no?
Fight. Oh, it's a draw. I thought it was a no contest.
Yeah. No, because it went to the final bell. It was a draw.
Holy shit, dude. I ran that back and I thought they disqualified him for the headbutt. I forgot they made that a draw. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. My mistake. This whole time I've been operating under the assumption that was a no contest. They took a point. Is that what happened? They made it a 10-8 round?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. But, you know, almost the same thing. Either way, it ended up being a bit of a weird fight. I don't know why. I kind of feel like Choi is live in this spot, but I've always been a Bill Algeo guy. And that really, man, this card has me tied in knots, Brandon, because I'm a guy that wants to back Bill Algeo just kind of naturally. I'm kind of ride or die with him. I've had success betting on him, but this is a spot that I feel like is very, very dangerous against Doo-Ho Choi. So I lean Bill Algeo, but not quite sure what I'm doing yet.
Here was my thing. So, you know, I text my good old buddy Big Bird, and I just texted him. I said, I think every single dog on this card is live. Like every single one. I like all of them, every single one of them. This is the one I actually started with. I was like, man, I think that that Superboy, little Korean Superboy, is super live in the spot. And after tape, here's where I got to. He's too patient. Think about Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson doesn't give a fuck. He's just going to charge forward. He's going to swing these freaking Canadian meat cleavers at your face. He's going to wrestle. He's going to box again. He doesn't care. And this is a new thing. And, man, he's overperformed himself times a million. Like Fernando Padilla fight is great. That's how he fights. Superboy is, first of all, he's really short, really small, and he stands there. And his punches are powerful when he does throw. But I think he's too, how do I say, not necessarily slow, but Algeo's going to get a rhythm. As Superboy stands there and he doesn't throw, Algeo's going to jab him and move. He does have great range, but it was Kyle Nelson crashing that pocket, closing that distance so hard. If you told me that what's his name, Doo-Ho Choi is just going to run in there and just sprint at him and just swing, I would go Choi 100%. Choi knockout Choi for sure. I could never get to an Algeo bet here at minus 200. His margins are too thin. He doesn't hit very hard. But I think he's going to win. Yeah, I think he's going to win. I love Bill. I think Bill is one of the biggest ultra vets in the game right now. Like you think you can grapple him, you can't. He's got so much good jiu-jitsu, so many good defenses, stand-ups. Everything he does is great. His cardio is awesome. He puts high volume out there, makes good reads. He's got the confidence, the swagger. I love everything about Bill Algeo. His shin, I guess, was the only thing to go. I think he's just going to pick apart Doo-Ho Choi. But minus 200 is really, really, really hard to get to with him.
Yeah. And that's, how do you feel about minus 165 though?
We're getting closer.
That's kind of how I'm feeling, man. It looks
We're
like the
getting
action's
closer.
coming in here on Choi. And as this thing dips a little bit lower, I'm like, I know recency bias is a bitch in this game, man. Everybody sees the last thing and they're like, oh, that, getting rocked by Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson has burned my ass in like his last.
Kyle Nelson rocked Padilla too.
He did. But I mean, I keep trying to fade him. I keep trying to bet against Kyle Nelson, and he keeps taking money out of my hand. So like, I'm with everybody else that like, it's not a good look to get, cracked that way and get the fight stopped the way it was last time against Kyle Nelson. But at the same time, like you said, Doo Ho Choi doesn't really have that same kind of aggression. And if you're going to let Bill find his groove, you better one punch him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
you're in the Algeo verse now, for sure.
So yeah, man, I don't know if we get down to like minus 140 or something. I may jump in on the Bill Algeo.
Is Algeo decision the best bet on the card?
I mean, you wouldn't think like a late finish, maybe though, because
no,
we've seen that happen on Choi before.
Yeah, but Choi's different now. So I think Choi went away to the military for so long. That's why he was out for so long. And since then, he's now training with Korean Zombie, the only other Santino DeFranco black belt in the world other than myself. From all accounts, all inside sources, his jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. He's one of the best guys in the room. His grappling is so pure and so amazing. That's why I was so big on him against Kyle Nelson. And then the headbutt and then the draw just pissed me the fuck off. But I think Bill is excellent. I don't think he's going to finish him late. Bill is, again, death by a million cuts, but I think Choi has got a great chin and won't quit, and his grappling's leveled up. So I think Algeo decision's the way to go.
No, that's fair. He's no Herbert Burns, right? He's not going to just die halfway through the fight and let Bill elbow him to death. So decision probably the look, man. Decision probably the look. Let's see how low this number gets, though. I may just jump in money line. We'll see. All right, everybody. We got a couple more fights to get to. Next up, Cody Durden takes on Bruno Silva. And if you guys needed any more proof ever that I'm just the mushiest mush who ever mushed, I bet against Cody Durden in every single one of his UFC fights. I'm looking at this guy and I'm licking my chops. I'm like, I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's UFC caliber. He's older. He's a decent wrestler, but his neck is out there to be had. He's always gotten choked out by everybody. Got it with Mohammed Mokaev and thought, you know what? I'm going to get it with everybody else too. So I bet against him. JP Buys. I bet against him, Charles Johnson. I bet against him, Jake Hadley. And I'm just like, motherfucker. Like, so now this guy has gone on this ridiculous win streak when I've done nothing but disparage him. And I'm like, all right. So we get into beef on Twitter. We make up. I'm a fan. He understands I'm a gambler. It's not because I hate him or I hate his face or anything like that. It's just because I'm betting and I'm stupid. So we're buddies now. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to believe in him here against Tagir. Immediately gets tapped out by Tagir Ulanbekov. And it's like, I should have just stuck to my guns. Should have just stayed the course. Could have bet against him one more time, but decided not to because now we like each other. So I do the opposite of anything I say involving Cody Durden. Bruno Silva, he is Henry Cejudo light, man. And is he training with you guys? Because I looked at his Instagram.
He left.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. So he's Henry Cejudo light, right? Same style, just a little bit worse. But like karate style striking, explodes into range. He's got good grappling. He's got good wrestling. He's pretty durable. Got good cardio. I mean, he's 34 years old at this point, though, and impressive as hell what he did to Tyson Nam. Man, I felt like it was a bit of a rough run for UFC to cut Tyson Nam after that kind of a fight because he's been one hell of a fighter. And the up kick that he landed him with leading into a rear naked choke, like not many people can do that to Tyson Nam. Bruno Silva definitely has my respect here. And especially considering, like I said, I feel like Cody Durden can be had in the submission grappling area, man. If you hurt him on the feet, if you make him panic wrestle, if you make him tired, he opens up those subs. And Silva's a guy that's got 4 subs, very opportunistic. He can out-grapple a lot of people if you give him the opportunity. When this fight is lined closely, I lean ever so slightly to Bruno Silva at plus money. I think he can find an opportunity for a sub. I think he's the better striker on the feet. It just comes down to the counter grappling. And I think a guy who's wrestled his entire career with Henry Cejudo probably can defend the takedowns of Durden. But yeah, I just locked in Durden decision win for everybody by picking Bruno Silva. So do with that what you will, Brandon. What's going on here?
Yeah, not this time, buddy. Okay, I'm looking at my Bet Online account. I guess I got 1,000 on Bruno Silva at plus 120. What's the line now?
Plus 105.
Oh,
Plus
fuck,
102.
Dude, I'm so sharp. God, I'm
Plus
so
102.
sharp. Jesus Christ.
Look at you.
Yeah, I trained
Moving
with
lines
Bruno
and
for a
shit.
long time. What's that?
Moving lines and shit. Look at you.
Come on. I trained with Bruno for a long time. Let's put it like this. Bruno, when he came to us, because he came from Brazil. So Henry, in the middle of all that stuff, he flew out a bunch of the Brazilians. They lived at his house, trained at his house. One is retired now, begging for fights in bare knuckle. Bruno has moved on to ATT. Leandro Higo back in Brazil. And who else we got? Pantoja is now the champion. So that was the crop of Brazilians that Henry brought for us. Bruno was good, but I was 19 at the time. I was able to take Bruno down, take his back, choke him out. He put so much work in with Henry, wrestling every single day. He went to Valiant Prep where Henry's brother teaches, Angel Cejudo. He was wrestling at Valiant every day, wrestling with Henry every day in private, all that stuff. And it's not to say he can't be taken down. I wholeheartedly believe that Durden is going to get him down. But his jiu-jitsu is really, really good. And it's how he creates scrambles, right? He's always constantly lifting butterfly hooks. He's elevating people. He's getting underneath them. He's finding his way out. He's crafty with his jiu-jitsu. And his striking's good. I think he's the only guy that's flash knock me down. Like he puts these little subtle feints and he'll just come over the top, slump you. And I've seen it so many times. His calf kicks hurt a lot. His body kicks hurt a lot. His hands are really, really clean. I like Durden. I think that dude is a dog and he's come a long way. You know, we used to see him get so tired in fights, and he still does get so tired in fights.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're showing me this matchup on a guy that can counter grapple, a guy that's got good jiu-jitsu. He can be dangerous, really dangerous with submissions, and he's going to be the better striker. In this day and age where, you know, damage is scored over positions, and you have a guy that can win positionally also. I mean, give me Bruno Silva all day. I think plus 120 was a stupid number. Everyone loves Cody. That's the thing, is a lot of these people like people that are just talking on Twitter all the time, right?
Yep.
I love it. Hadley, I've trained with Hadley too. Hadley is massive, but Hadley slows down a lot. What?
I had that sub prop that night, man. That guillotine that he had him in, or what was it? The whole thing where his like arm went numb. Cody's right arm went numb, and he's like, I can't feel my arm. I was like, I knew he was gassing out. Still fought his way out of that choke. I couldn't believe it. Or was it an arm bar? It might have been an arm bar.
Yeah, I've grappled with Hadley. He's an okay level. He slows down a lot. He plays guard. He likes to play off his back. Like, he just makes a lot of mistakes. He's very, very talented. The dude is really, really good. But you know, that's a fight that it's just pretty much who has the more dog, and that was Durden that night. I don't know what Bruno's heart's looking like, but I also have to assume that ATT vitamins are going to come into play here also. That's not a bad move. That's the one thing about Fight Ready. We don't got no vitamins passing around the gym. And that ATT water is a delicious, delicious drink, I hear. So who knows? I think I like Bruno. I like my position on Bruno. I think he's going to win the fight on damage. I think he could easily knock him out. He's got a great striking arsenal.
People forget how good at striking he is.
I ain't forget. I know.
Yeah. Well, man, that brings me full all the way around here. We're on a streak, folks. We finally broke the losing skid. We're 1-0. My boy Link Memorial, dog of the week. That's what we're going with for Bruno Silva. And I'm going to get a ton of shit for betting against Cody Durden yet again. But, you know, like I said, beware the mush. But I am going to be taking the slight plus money here on Bruno Silva. I like it. I'm glad Brandon agrees with me. It is the one singular spot on this card that I felt okay about, man. Like there's not a lot on this card that I like at first glance. It's these coin flips and it's the fighters, frankly. Guys, I've had rough runs betting both for and against. I'm not overly confident on a lot this card. I'm going to be betting Bruno Silva. I wish I had gotten a sexier number, much like the sexy Brandon Olivas, but I'm just not there yet. I got to be a little bit behind. He's got more hair and a better number than I do. That's just how it goes. Some guys got it all. All right, next fight.
Sorry, I missed that joke. I'm trying to read the chat.
I know you're killing me. You're killing me, Brandon. I said you got more hair and a better number than me. Like how'd you miss that one? I'm complimenting you.
Oh man, my hair is going. Everybody like to talk about my hair, so you know maybe it's why you got to bring up old shit.
Next up, man, Holobaugh. He takes on Kaynan Kruschewsky. In another fight that I'm really struggling with. I mean, it seems like a spot where it should be Kurt Holobaugh one-way traffic, but I'm not sure Kurt Holobaugh at this point in his career is somebody that I'm ready to dive in that hard on. He's 37 years old. He just got the Trey Ogden experience. He's let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. I'm struggling with the fighters on this card. You've got your boys, right? You've got your people that you can go to, really well. You can fight them. You know when they're going to lose. You know when they're going to win. This card is all people I don't have that on. Kurt Holobaugh has one win in the UFC, guys. One win. And it's the fight that I bet Austin Hubbard on. I went to war with my boy Austin Hubbard, and that's the one UFC win that he's got if you're not counting the Ultimate Fighter. That's how badly I read Kurt Holobaugh. So, yeah, man, not really feeling this fight a ton. I'll be honest with you. I did not research this fight a lot. I started to look into it. It was the bottom of my list. I don't know Kaynan very well. He's a little bit older, 33 years old, coming into the UFC off Dana White's Contender Series and got nuked by Elvis Brenner in this spot. I don't have much interest in this fight, and I'm hoping you can help me out on this one because I don't feel comfortable with either of these guys, and I don't really know where their strengths and weaknesses lie. Slight lean, I guess, to Kurt, who is a small underdog in this spot. Talk to me, man. What are we doing here?
Well, I think I want to play Kurt fairly decently big here.
Okay.
There's a reason why. First of all, Kaynan's tape isn't bad. He's a good striker. I like Holobaugh's striking a lot better than I like Kaynan's striking. The way that he just will stay in the pocket and he'll piece 3 or 4 together. Kaynan's pretty athletic and he makes good reads and stuff. But look at his win on Contender Series. He fought Dylan Mantello, who is all flash, no actual substance. I think I just like Holobaugh. Like, he's just such an ultra veteran. Now, if you didn't have that Trey Ogden fight, if that fight never happened, he'd be a huge favorite, I believe, here in this spot. The way that he came back and knocked out Austin Hubbard. So if those fights were in reverse order, right? Ogden went first and then he fought Austin Hubbard. Hubbard would be, what do you think you'd put Hubbard? Because Hubbard can wrestle and Hubbard's decent, on the feet. He sticks around. Be minus 200, minus 250, something like that.
Yeah.
But because those happened in reverse order, now everyone's going, man, Holobaugh is going to kill Ogden, right? Ogden's so slow. All he does is jab and tries to wrestle, gets tired. And Ogden put on a great performance. And that was really shocking to me, the lack of urgency from Holobaugh. And so this fight, I think, is going to be extremely frustrating because it's going to feel like, all right, Holobaugh has 30 seconds to knock him out at the beginning of each round. And then Kaynan could wrestle and take him down and just stick on the top for the rest of the fight, right? So I'm hoping, just like Jack Della Maddalena, right, when he kept going guillotines on Basso Hafiz, what I'm really, really hoping is he takes all that criticism and applies it and says, okay, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to just lay on my back. I'm going to attempt to stand up. I'm going to attempt to move. If this is just a striking fight, I really like Holobaugh. I think he hits harder, but I really feel someone's getting caught coming in. Holobaugh is either going to nuke him or he's going to eat a big one on the chin and someone's going to sleep. I really think the way to play this fight is ends by KO, but I think I like Holobaugh just on a money line. Maybe not so big, maybe medium to small, but I think especially later in the fight too, Holobaugh can break him.
Okay, I like it. I lean, Holobaugh more gut than anything, so I'm glad we kind of line up there on that one. That's something, man. When it comes to gambling, I swear the hairs on the back of my neck do better than my research does. Like sometimes your unconscious brain knows something that you don't.
Sometimes you just got to bet on vibes and feelings, not so much tape.
Aura. I was trying. You got to bet the aura.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to kind of describe this. Like, sometimes the weeks where I study the most, I get destroyed. I just get absolutely killed. And then the weeks that I'm like, all right, let me do 10 minutes of tape. Let me just look at records, a few things. I kill it. And it's just best. What do you always say? Your balls in your mouth or something? What's the saying?
Trust your balls.
All right.
Always trust your balls. Right there. Man. Yeah, it's funny because what I've noticed is the weeks where I am confident, the weeks where I'm like, I love this card. I fucking love this card. I get smoked. It's the weeks where I'm like, I've got to play this number for the value. I have to be on this side. Like I think that the number is wrong. Those are the ones where I'm scared for my life, but I seem to win. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Unless I'm like max bet level confident that, those are the ones where I do okay. But like last week, for example, line was too wide, but I'm like, Josh Van's winning. Line too wide, doesn't matter. Josh Van's gonna win. he gets nuked in round 3. You know what I mean? It's one of those ones where it's like, I can't.
And how do you even
just pick
prepare for
winner
that?
strategy.
Yeah, he was taking over. He was looking great, man. The kid is talented. It's just one of those that sucks. Yeah. What can you do?
But that's what I'm saying. That's MMA. You know what I mean? Like I'm exceedingly confident. That's where I'm going to make my money back. Nope. The MMA gods hate me. All right, let's go. Next up, we got Steve Garcia and Seung Woo Choi. This has got to be fight of the night, man. I mean, this fight, for as long as it lasts, is going to be an absolute banger. I love Seung Woo Choi. I love the way that he fights. I will be honest. I kind of thought that I thought he'd have more success. You know, he's 31 years old and he's on a tough skid right now. 1-3 in his last 4. He got the win over Jarno Aarons in his last fight. Getting nuked by Mike Trezano is a bit of a bad look kind of at this point. He's no longer at the UFC level. He's doing good over in BKFC. You can't complain too much about that. But
he's a bare knuckle legend, man. That's nothing to tip your hat at. Come on.
He's doing good over there. And honestly, man, I think it suits him a little bit better. I always felt like he didn't step on the gas enough in the UFC, but he hits fucking hard enough that it looks like he's perfect for BKFC. So just got to find your groove sometimes, right? Like Mike Perry wasn't the UFC champion, but he's God in bare knuckle FC. So just different strokes for different strokes, different styles, man. That's what happens sometimes. Josh Kalibau, that split decision. I think I had a bet on Choi that night. That one could have gone either way. They beat the brakes off of each other over and over. This one scares me because I feel like the way Seung Woo Choi blocks punches with his face is set up just so perfectly for Steve Garcia to come in here and absolutely nuke this man. Steve Garcia is a little fragile, though. You know, he gets into these barn burners and he's been clipped a couple different times. I know he's only been put out, like all the way put out the one time, but how many times have we seen him dropped? How many times have we seen him hurt? And then he fights his way back in. You got to love the junkyard dog in this kid. You absolutely got to love the fact that he will keep going even after being rocked the way that he does. You know, his last couple of fights, the Malqueza Costa fight, that one was hilarious because you could see Costa just hanging on for dear life. He's like, oh God, I do not want this man to touch me. And as soon as he got his hands on him, it was over. Steve Garcia is must-see action. Make sure you guys get your drink break in before this fight because you don't want to blink for this one. I've got to go with Steve Garcia. I'm going to pick him here in this spot. I think the power is going to be the difference because while Seung Woo Choi, he is aggressive. He does have volume. He has been knocked out twice, and he's the kind of guy that will go in there and fight you fire with fire. And I just think if you're going to do that against Steve Garcia, you better be insanely durable because not many people can go punch for punch with a guy like Steve Garcia. I think he's going to knock Seung Woo Choi out. But again, line's already moved against me here, man. Like Steve Garcia was minus 155 just a little bit earlier today. And now he is down to about minus 145. So money's coming in on Doo-Ho Choi in this spot.
Come on. Don't say Doo-Ho Choi.
I'm sorry. Seung Woo Choi. That's my bad. Too many Chois on the same card.
I'm about to live bet him right now. I don't know if we can put that on there. I'm going to put $1,623 on Seung Woo Choi.
Okay. See, there you go. Like that's what I'm talking about. Right, Smart people are betting Choi.
I like my boy. What's that?
Now just talk to me. What's up? Why Choi? Why Choi? What am I missing?
Here's what I look at. Steve Garcia is an agent of chaos. He's kind of like Hyder Amil. Are they the same weight class? Are they both 145ers?
Steve cut to 145, and that's where he like nuked poor Chase Hooper. He's back up at 155, so he was kind of bouncing back and forth. I think that weight cut was a little bit too much for him. That's the one where Mahashate.
Oh, you know what?
Oh no, that was
I had inside. Yeah, I had some insight about that fight, the Melky fight, because didn't it get rescheduled?
Yeah, it got canceled and booked back.
Yeah. So Santino was in the sauna with Steve, and he's like, you know, they were doing like the last few pounds, like 3 pounds, whatever. And he looks at Steve and goes, how much weight you got? And he goes, 20 pounds. And then there was a massive weight miss and they rescheduled the fight. It was all crazy. And I think that was part of the reason that, you know, that time I was on Melky and Santino was on Melky's because we're like, dude, this guy's not even like taking this seriously. He showed up to fight with 25, 30 pounds overweight and didn't really care that much.
Oh, that's tough.
Here's the way that I'm kind of looking at this fight. Choi has all the potential in the world. Like you said, you thought he would be much better. When he came to the UFC, he was losing, but you're like, man, this kid, you can see the talent. It's right there in front of you. He's incredible. And Garcia is almost the complete opposite. The dude is horrible in almost every area, but he's just an agent of chaos. Like he just fucking brings it. Yeah, Choi's got a bad chin. He gets rocked a lot. And mostly, I think he gets rocked and hurt a lot because he's trying to also murder at the same time. And when you're trying to kill somebody, that's when you get hit with the shots you don't see. You end up going to sleep, whatever. I am taking the better fighter at plus money. And especially you just seen the performance that Jarnell Aaron's just put on. The dude he's sick striker. And Choi was right in there, banging with him. Won most of that fight on the feet. I know he got hurt one time. I think that Choi, his style is better suited to have the better cardio because Garcia just goes fucking nuts. I think his punches are a little tighter. My biggest issue with Choi is his punch selection, and it's gotten worse over the years. Whenever he moved to Kill Cliff and was doing that stuff, his punch selection was just left hook, left hook, left hook, left hook, straight. And it was very confusing. Like he used to mix up his arsenal really, really well, mixing a lot of leg kicks. He used to see things really well. It's gotten worse over time. So I'm hoping, where is he? Is he back in Asia?
It looks like he's training with Superboy and Korean Zombie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because they told me that Eddie Cha told me that he's with Zombie, and Zombie says that kid is
modeling.
Oh God, he is sexy as shit.
Sexy Yamahu, right? Next generation, baby. Look at this
Jesus
kid.
Christ. Yeah, he's so handsome. I got Seung Choi. I think you're getting the better fighter at plus money. And the reason the line is the way that it is because you have a bunch of gassy wrestlers that are going to try to grapple Steve. And Steve brings enough chaos to say, fuck the grappling. And then when we get back up, I'm going to whoop your ass. Seung Woo is going to give him a different fight than that, right? He's not going to grapple. He's going to stand right there. And
yeah,
let me get the plus money on the tighter punching, the better kickboxer who's now training with Korean Zombie. Like, that Jackson Wink camp is a disaster. It's just a disaster. Who lets their fighter show up 25 pounds, 30 pounds overweight? So give me Seung Woo Choi plus money. I put 1,600 on it.
Okay. All right, man. You're kind of swaying me here a little bit because as much as I am in love with Steve Garcia, I recognize the bad chin. And that's a problem. Like, I really feel like the way he gets tagged, you just got to be able to take one or two of his punches and you'll be able to go ahead and get that knockout yourself. So Seung Woo Choi is the kind of guy that probably should be able to pull that off. It's just a matter of kind of who lands first. I think Seung Woo Choi does have slightly better durability, but with the power edge, I feel like that's Garcia. So it's a tight it's a tight rope to walk. You know what I mean? Either one of these guys could clip the other guy and put him down quick. It should be a hell of a fun fight, but I get it. I can definitely see where you're going there with Choi. All right, boys. It is co-main event, and we just need three more live on the stream. So do me a favor, hit the like button. Let's hit 1K viewers again on the show. Let's just do it. Why not? Why can't we have 1,000 people watching us live on a Monday night? Let's go. Hit the like button. Share this bad boy out there on X. Let's fucking go. Home of Fight. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're hanging out. Brandon Olivas, complete badass, high rolling, sexy as fuck. Check out his show as well. Let's get into it. Next fight up, we got Brad Tavares and Yeong Park. Tavares, just the absolute ultimate gatekeeper for the UFC. This guy has been around freaking forever. He's been the measuring stick for so many champions and contenders in this weight class. I love Brad Tavares. Absolutely love this guy. 36 years old, training out of Extreme Couture. He is a beast to try to take down, man. That's kind of the whole thing is like, he's just methodical on the feet. I love his process. He couldn't bust a grape, though. So if you want to get rounds, if you want to get minutes, if they want to see what kind of cloth you're cut from, they give you Brad Tavares because he ain't going to hurt you. But he'll definitely be in there giving you rounds. And if you can't get him down, you're forced to stand with him. And that's trouble. Now, he's fallen a bit on hard times, but no shame in losing to Dricus du Plessis. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, Bruno Silva, he kind of got KO'd in that one. Tough look. Gregory Rodriguez, the round 3 finish, kind of a tough look. You know, he's another guy that's built his career on being tough and durable. And those KOs are starting to come now a little bit later in his career. His last win was against Chris Wyman, the shell of Chris Wyman off the leg break. I mean, pretty tough scenes when that's the best you've looked in the last little bit. But overall, I love Brad Tavares' game. He's definitely a veteran of the sport. He knows what he's doing. And if you are not ready for the top end of the division, he will expose you. The Iron Turtle, 17-6. I love this guy. He's so happy. He's so smiley. He's my kind of dude. He's always throwing peace signs up and he's cheesing all over the place at weigh-ins and stuff. He's super fun, man. 33 years old. He's solid. He's got good boxing. He's got sneaky underrated grappling. I take that back. I'm not sure how underrated it is. His last 3 wins in a row have all come by rear naked choke. Tough loss in his last fight by split decision to Andre Muniz. I got a good one there, man. I got a good one there. I had Andre Muniz in that fight. It was a close fight. It was boring as shit. Definitely not one that I would ever want to run back and make the same bet on. So I'll count my blessings that I got a cash ticket on Andre Muniz that night. But, if it wasn't for that fight, he'd be on a 5-fight win streak at this point. He's been doing really well since he lost to Gregory Rodriguez. And frankly, I thought he was going to end Rodriguez, man. When they were exchanging right before he got KO'd, it looked like RoboCop was the one that was going to go down. He was doing some work with the boxing. The split decision against Eric Anders, that's always a tough fight. Finishing guys like Duraev, that's a good look. I mean, Holmes and Tululian are not necessarily anybody you want to write home about. But long story short, I like the grappling of Jeong Park. I like the boxing wrestling game of Jeong Park. I just don't know if he's going to be able to take down a guy like Brad Tavares. Now, again, the age, the durability, those are concerns. So I've got to go ahead and go with Park, but this is a serious test for the guy. We're going to find out a lot about Park in this spot. But I think he'd be the pick. I just hate -185. Tavares is the kind of guy that's always in close, competitive fights. If he's not getting finished, maybe a split decision. And I'm not going back to, a Josh Van situation. I don't want to be holding the bag with -200 and having this fight being read off as a split. So I'm going to pick Park to win. I don't know if I can get around this number, man. What do you like here?
This is a really tough one for me. If I could choose any fights I just pass on this card, it would be this fight specifically. And for a few reasons. I always fade Park. I always bet against him, and he always destroys me. He always crushes me. And Tavares, I don't know that I overrate Tavares, but I'm like, man, I think Tavares is solid, but the matchup is really different, right? Most of those other guys, Park can grind out. He's so good at getting in on single legs and then cutting corners, and he'll just swing to your back. He's so good at that. Most people just, shoot double legs, you sprawl, that's the end of it. But he always swings to people's backs. Great at it. He's amazing at it. His grappling is good. His top control is really good. His chokes are awesome. He's good. But now if you eliminate the grappling, right? Because Tavares is so hard to take down, if he can't get down Tavares, what do you have now? You have a striking fight.
Yep.
Hawaiians love to strike. In a pure striking fight, if they just kickbox, I mean, what would you line the fight?
I would make Brad Tavares a slight favorite in this spot. If we're just kickboxing, no grappling involved. I see the problem with that though is I'm not sure Park can get takedowns on Brad. Brad's so tough to get to the ground, even with the
That's
grappling
the point I'm
allowed,
getting at.
It's still a kickboxing fight, So I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, that's the point I'm getting at. Now you have one guy who's -200, the other guy is what, -135, or I'm sorry, +135 or 140, whatever it is now. And the other thing too is Park doesn't hit hard. Those other guys that fought Tavares, they hit hard. They do hit hard. All of them. Every single one of them. They all hit hard. So you have a guy who's a jab merchant. I love a jab. I love me a clean jab. He's got such a solid game and he fights within himself all the time. But if he can't get takedowns and all he can throw is jabs, and then Tavares is going to be throwing big kicks, big overhands, more eye-catching stuff than Park. Park is death by 1,000 cuts also. To me, this is kind of like the Algeo fight.
Yeah.
Almost real similar to the Algeo fight. Like I would pass this fight. I feel like somehow, some way, Park is going to find a way to win, like he always does. But I really feel the value is on Tavares. How could it not be on Tavares, right? If you eliminate grappling and we're just talking about striking, I think it's going to be close. So I don't know. I don't have an opinion on this one. I'm going to pass on this one just in general.
That's the problem right now, man. My confidence is low. I've gotten my ass beat the last couple of events. If I was rolling, if I was feeling myself, I'd be like, hey, it's value all day. Take the value, take the plus money, close fight. But I'm like, I just know somehow
we need some wins.
Going to find a way to win. And
yeah, we got to see the ball go through the hoop a couple of times. I totally get
some wins.
This has been a tough few, not even weeks, probably a tough few months for me because I've been spending more time training, more time like trying to get myself a fight, like doing things outside of just sitting at home studying tape all day. And it's gotten way harder for me. So I can't take those risks. I said this on my show last week. Like I had so much money on guys that I really didn't want to have money on. And I placed those bets when I was doing well. I had $1,000 on Josh Frem. That's $2,000 on Josh Frem. That's terrifying. I even said that on the show. I said, I'm getting desperate now. This is not exactly who I want to have money on. At the time, it made sense to me, but yeah, now you got to pick your spots a little more carefully. So I totally understand. Tough one for me. I guess I would lean Tavares on a value play. Yeah, but I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Park to win. I'm probably just not going to bet this fight because it's probably going to be competitive. And I can see that the number feels like it's a little bit wrong. And man, looking back, my last 4 or 5 events, you realize I've only won 1 event betting in like my last 5. And it was actually Karate Combat when I bet my boy Ben the Bane Davis as a joke.
Big Ben.
+1 unit, baby. That was the best I've done event-wise in the last 5 events that I've bet. So yeah, man, we need to stack some wins this week. I'm not laying -185 and losing a split decision. I'm also not gonna be holding the bag on a value loser, taking a shot at +155 with the guy I don't think is gonna get his hand raised. So pass for me. I will pick the Iron Turtle. No bets. All right, everybody. It is main event time, and y'all did it. Y'all did it. We got over 1,000. What's up? We got 1,030 live viewers watching the show. Thank you all for hanging out with us here on a Monday night. Hoping you're finding the show entertaining. Hoping it's useful. I may not make in bags and stacking piles of money, but hopefully the info is entertaining and helps you find your way to a couple of winners this week. Main event time. Amanda Lemos, and she takes on Virna Jandiroba. I love me some Virna. She has been my sleepy underdog for a long time, man. This chick has been so underrated. I'm glad she finally is getting just a little bit of the respect that she deserves. She's such a grinding badass. She's got that position over submission style game. She's like a freaking anaconda. She'll, get a leg, get an ankle, drag you to the ground, and just inch her way up the body. Eventually, she's on your top. Eventually, she's on your back. Eventually, she's got your neck. And you just ain't going nowhere if she's sitting on top of you. She also, even though she's a little herky-jerky, she's not the most athletic person in the world. She's got a decent jab, and she's got power. What's that line from like the last Rocky movie where he comes out of retirement and they're like, your knees are gone. Your ankles are gone. You ain't fast. You don't have cardio. We're going to focus on blunt force trauma. It's like, that's Virna Jandiroba. Like, she can hit hard when she wants to throw one. But damn, man, I feel like she's finally got the respect, and this is where the cat's out of the bag. Amanda Lemos, also 37. At 36 and 37 years old, like, I feel like Lemos is just going to bicycle circles around Virna. She is so much faster. She is so much more athletic. I know she doesn't have great takedown defense, and that's Virna's real path to victory here in this spot. I watched the Mackenzie Dern fight back, and I had a bet on Dern in that fight because I thought she finally started using her grappling game a little bit more. Maybe she'd be able to get that going, and she could, trade with Lemos on the feet a little bit and then find her way to the ground. And boy, it couldn't have been more wrong about Mackenzie Dern in that spot. But it was the speed. It was the athleticism, the difference there. Lemos isn't just going to car crash with Virna. If she leg kicks and runs, I don't think Virna can catch her. I think she's going to have a real hard time finding her in the cage. And that's going to be kind of the difference maker. The power that Lemos holds, nobody in this division hits with the kind of heat that she does, except for maybe, prime, the other Amanda, or sorry, Jessica Andrade. Maybe Jessica can go power for power with Amanda Lemos, but that's about it. I just think she's going to be too quick. I think she's going to stick and she's going to move. I think she's going to calf kick. And I think Virna's going to have a hard time getting her down. And then when she does, Lemos, I don't think she's going to submit Virna Jandiroba, obviously, but she does have that tight guillotine that she likes to jump. She does enough to stay safe when they're on the ground, and it's damage over everything these days. The control grappling of Virna, I think close rounds might be given to Lemos unless she's able to get early takedowns. You know what I mean? It could be a spot where she just gets edged out, and I wouldn't be shocked by like a leg kick TKO. I think it's another live dog spot, man. I think maybe this line is backwards and Lemos has a little bit more at this stage.
I agree with you 100%. This is funny. People gave me a reputation. I only pick chalk people. I only bet favorites, but this whole card I like since always. I think I like Lemos in this spot. I understand how this looks, and I do understand why the line is the way that it is, right? In theory, Virna knows her game so well, right? She will hang on to a leg, and her wrestling's not great, but she finds a way somehow. She snags. She reminds me of like Damian Maia, like in the sense of like Maia was a horrible wrestler, but he always knew how to trip, how to snag a single leg, how to get somebody down. And then once he did get you down, That's it. Like, you're not getting back up. So she for those in the chat, she is the female Damian Maya, Virna Jandiroba. Just as good, equally as good. Yeah, equally as good. God damn, Lemos is so good. Just hate in her fucking heart. I love it. It's weird looking at Lupi Godinez and then looking at Lemos. They seem so different in size, just so massively different. Like, Lemos hits like a dude, and she's so tall, and then Lupi's so short and stubby. I get she can wrestle and defend takedowns, but fought about as horrible of a game plan as possible. And you watch that first round back, and you're like, man, when is the KO coming? Like, we're just loading up for this massive knockout. And Lemos throws with more heat than Lupi for sure. Like, she has hate in her heart. Especially you get a Brazil versus Brazil matchup. Those women do not like each other. Ironically, I am so attracted to both of these women in the main event. I want them equally. But Lemos' little haircut, man, it's so sexy. I like Lemos. In the course of a 5-round fight, we've seen Virna slow down a lot. Lemos was still fighting hard with Wei Li after getting mauled for 5 rounds. Like, she doesn't give up on herself.
I was so big on Wei Li Zhang sub that night. I thought I had the sub in the bag, man.
She never stopped fighting, and I get she didn't get to throw a lot of punches and do a lot, and she got dominated the whole fight, but she didn't give up on herself. Now imagine if Wei Li fought Virna. How would that fight go in the course of 5 rounds? It's not going to the bell. Wei Li's going to finish her. I think you have 5 rounds to find this kill shot. I think you have 5 rounds to change the momentum of the fight. All it's going to take is one punch to get that, scare her off of her. The calf kicks are going to add up. The body shots, like, she is nasty. She's probably going to, honestly though, like, I was thinking about betting it on the pod just for fun right now, but honestly, I probably wait until after the first round, because I really imagine Virna's going to get her down at some point in the first round. And then, I'll pre-bet Lemos KO. I'll wait till she goes down, and then we're going to load up when we get rich. That's how it goes.
There you go. Love to see my boy VB in the chat agreeing with us there on that. Good shit. All right, man. Hey, you know what? I've been wishy-washy this whole card, but the 2 spots that I actually liked, 2 very short underdogs, we both agreed on, and that makes me feel a whole hell of a lot better about those spots.
Which like those.
That's Amanda Lemos in the main event, and then Bruno Silva over Cody Durden, my dog of the week. I was flip-flopping between those 2. I'll tell you, a little peek behind the curtain for you guys. Unless I've made like a big bet because I'm like super confident, the dog of the week, I wait to just kind of feel the vibe on the show. I don't know which one's going to be the dog of the week unless it's like a standout. Like last week, it was Petrowski because I was like, wrong guy's favored. Just flat out, straight, done, over, wrong guy's favored. And I knew that in my soul. So I locked it in before the show ever started. But if it's like, I've got 2 or 3 dogs that I like, but I'm not sure which one we're going to honor my boy Link with, I just wait and I do it live. And I felt it. I'm like, that's Bruno this week. But yeah, man. So I'm glad we agree on those 2 spots. Let's see how low the market gets on Bill Algeo. I'm always going to, keep on looking back at that one. And you may have turned me onto Seung Woo Choi in this spot this week. So
I thought you were going to stop right there at, you may have turned me.
You may have turned me. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm, you got the ring on the finger. No, but one of these days though, I'll come down to Fight Ready and let you whip my ass. How's that sound?
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me on, Clint. I love doing the show with you, man. I love talking to you. I remember you text me a couple times like, man, are you talking shit to me? And then I had to tell you like, no. And you're the only person I ever see post anything. And so my everybody is on this person is literally just you. So that's about it.
I appreciate the call out for that. I can't believe you're airing the dirty laundry on the live stream like that. No, guys, man, that was so tough because like I had like a bad day at work and I'd like gotten into it with the wife. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to listen to some fight breakdowns, and it's you and Sam.
Relax. Yeah.
And I'm just going to chill. And it's like, I don't even remember what you said, but it was so stupid because it wasn't anything that ever should have upset me. And I was all in my feelings. I was like, the fuck, man. I was like, I like Brandon. He's talking shit on his podcast.
I pull up your profile. It's like, this user has blocked you. No, you didn't do that, but I'm saying
unfollow.
Block me. Yep. No, thanks for having me on, man. As always, it's great to pop on. I love hearing your takes and everything too. It's always fun.
Back at you, man. No, it's always a good time. Guys, make sure you check out his show with Santino. Seriously, it's one of the best listens in the game. Appreciate you coming on. And dude, if you've got any sponsors or like when the show comes live, whatever, if you want to promote anything, have at it. Floor is yours.
Cool. Yeah, I don't have much. Santino DeFranco, head coach at Fight Ready. We run a podcast and a Patreon. So go look up Santino DeFranco on YouTube. And then I guess the same thing, MMA breakdowns and bets on the Patreon. That's it. Other than that, life's pretty cool. I'm going to go to the Kid Leroy concert tonight. Listen to some angsty white boy music. It's great.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what we're good for, is being angsty. All right, man. Hey, everybody, thank you all so much for being here on the show tonight, guys. I know I'm doing awful this year. I'm on another losing streak, and it is what it is. But I will tell you guys, something my dad always used to tell me growing up is that you can't control the universe around you. You can't control the people around you. Shit's going to happen that you get upset by. Stuff's not going to go right. Your best plans are going to completely fall apart. But the one thing you can control is how you react. That's all you've got control over, is yourself, your emotions. And that's something that I've lived by. You know, so your dad always teaches you those lessons. You're like, shut up, Dad, leave me alone. Like that one's always stuck with me. And he was absolutely right. So just don't forget, we're doing this for fun. This is our favorite sport. We love it. That's why we're here. The gambling is supposed to be for fun, unless you're a complete animal like Brandon making piles.
Well, can I share something with you just even on that? Just we
yeah,
have a few
absolutely.
more minutes.
No, go for it.
My girl's on her way, and I'm like, I have to shower and vacuum my house and clean up. But so you know, I took time off work. So I think in September last year, I left my job and then I signed for a fight. And it's very hard for me to make weight. So in order for me to make 125 pounds, I have to run twice a day. I have to train twice a day. It's like very rigorous for me to make the weight, right? So it didn't leave a lot of room for me to study film, for me to be up on the best lines and grabbing the plus money and all that stuff. So basically, long story short, I have an expensive house and I got expensive cars. I don't have any payments on any of my cars, but insurance is expensive. Shit costs a lot of money just in life in general. And so I dwindled, and I kept losing because I wasn't studying so much. And I dwindled my bet online account down to about $3,000. And I said, all right, this is my last stand. I burned my account, like just betting on stupid shit in hopes of trying to make it better. I said, all right, this is my last stand. This is all I got. And then after that, like, I just got to work full time and just take it easy and be a recreational bettor. And then I turned that $3,000 from that bet online account into over 110,000 within 3 months. In March, I'd hit, 60K in parlays in 1 week, and then 40K the exact next week. And so I've been over six figures on that account that quickly. And then FanDuel, I'd been crushing and in the positive again and all that good stuff. So those streaks are going to happen. And it's really, like you said, it's how you respond. Even last week when I was in Colorado, I got robbed on that Shockey Foster boxing fight. It was one of the worst robberies I've ever seen. I would have been positive, and then instead I lost 30 grand. And so I don't know. There's a guy in the chat keeps like hounding me like, oh, he's down 30 grand. It's like, dude, that was the worst robbery I've ever seen in my life. And I would have been up 5-10 grand if the correct
swings
was
brutal.
Right. Yeah, it's brutal. And then said I'm down 30. So, and then last week I fired back and made 10 grand. So, you just got to have faith in the process, faith in what you're doing. Not everybody can feel this way, and gambling is very, very hard, but you just got to tell yourself, like, you either are that good or you're not that good. And if you're not that good, then probably don't do it and don't endanger your family. But if you are, then just have faith that the process is going to take over. It's going to work. You'll find your rhythm again, and life will be okay. Back against the wall sometimes is the best place to be.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And guys, more so than that, though, not necessarily gambling. There's other life lessons that applies to. And that's more what I was, kind of trying to dig at. There's some tough shit going on out there, tough times. Like I said, we do this for fun for the most part. So make sure you keep your chin up, control yourself, control your own mind, control your own emotions, and don't make it worse for yourself. You can always make the best next choice you can the next time around. So just be strong. Hold it together, everybody. Let's fucking go. We're going to make some money this week. We're going to kick some ass. One more time, Brandon, thank you so much for being here on the pod with me today. Everyone get out there, kick some ass this week. We'll see you Thursday for the Undefeated Post Weigh-In show. That's Friday. We'll see you Thursday for the Total Takedown. Friday, where I grab the tinfoil hat for the Undefeated Post Weigh-In show. Love you guys. As always, let's roll.